How's it going?
Don't be funny.
Oh, give me my phone. Record it. Give me my phone.
And serve, right?
If the state trooper got in trouble, he's not going to have another state trooper investigate him.
Really?
Okay?
He's a suspect.
Listen.
He's a suspect.
Any police officer in the right mind is not going to arrest one of their own employees.
Really?
I will not do that.
This is the worst thing that you can say.
No,
Actually, this is the
it's not.
best thing that you can say on video. I've been dying to listen to somebody say that.
So when a
Police officers don't arrest each other. Everyone already knew that. We were just waiting for confirmation.
No, we do not arrest our own officers in our same department. It doesn't work that way.
Okay. So he could break the law. He could hit me, and then you won't do anything about it but a complaint
What did
form.
I just tell you?
You don't get to assault citizens and get away with it, especially if you're a police officer.
Welcome back, everybody. As many of you guys know, I'm a law enforcement trainer and instructor. I train and instruct military and law enforcement all over the country on various law enforcement disciplines to include constitutional law, case law, patrol tactics, use of force, investigations, etc. And so in this video, there's a lot to unpack here, but really I want to focus on two factors. Number one, did an assault occur? And number two, the nuances of stating that law enforcement don't investigate themselves. And so I think these are two of the most important critical points. And so we're gonna kind of hyper focus on those points because I think that they're important. So before we do, let's go ahead and just get an understanding of the foundation work here. Seems like you have an auditor, First Amendment auditor, who's in a public building and he is recording he's recording with some kind of recording device. It appears to be a cell phone. And so he's recording with his cell phone. There's a lady that clearly does not appreciate it, does not like it. She's offended by the recording. She tells law enforcement she's offended by the recording. Law enforcement officer approaches the gentleman. The gentleman puts the camera up close to the officer. Officer grabs camera, puts it down on the table. And the reason why I state that he put it up close to a camera is based on my training experience. I know that somebody's arm length distance can be, anywhere between 3, maybe 4 feet, depending on the average person, right? So I would consider that to be close proximity based upon my training experience. If you are able to grab something and take something away, it is in close proximity of you. For example, the camera that's recording me right now, if I were to stick my arm out, I can't even reach it. So I can't even reach the camera that's recording me now. So I know that it would be closer than the camera, what my camera is to me. My laptop is directly in front of me. And I would consider my camera to be close proximity to me, and I can't even reach it. And so based upon my training experience, I'd be able to articulate that camera was obviously very close proximity to the officer. If the officer was able to take it, officer takes the camera, puts it on the countertop, and then proceeds to make contact with that person, driving the person back. And then it kind of cuts, and then we see him talking to another officer in which that officer states that police don't arrest their own. And so that's kind of my general gist of this video. And so to quickly break down what we have as far as case law in the beginning, you guys have seen this case law numerous times. Brown v. Texas, 1979. Again, the Supreme Court has affirmed that law enforcement needs reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime in order to detain and compel someone to identify themselves. Pretty straightforward. And then in Texas v. Johnson, 1989, the Supreme Court held that flag burning constitutes symbolic speech that is protected by the First Amendment. The Supreme Court further held that freedom of speech protects actions that society may find very offensive, but society's outrage alone is not justification for the suppression of that speech, right? So obviously this person is well within his rights to record. This person is well within his rights to be there to record, and just because you have an employee who's outraged by this does not give the law enforcement officers the nexus immediately to make an arrest. That's just based upon what we have here. I think that's pretty reasonable and relevant. And then I will end the initial contact with Cohen v. California, 1971. United States Supreme Court stated that states, right, the individual states, right, this is the Supreme Court to the states of what we know as the United States that make up the United States of America, must have a better reason than concern for general disturbing the peace when they ban displaying an expletive in a public space. So the Supreme Court said you better have a better reason for arresting somebody for a nexus of crime of disturbing the peace than somebody using foul language, than profanity. And so I think that if we were to compare somebody using profanity or displaying profanity to somebody just simply doing this, I think it's relatively clear here. The common sense test would state, yeah, I think that it would be more hypothetically, it's more egregious to curse somebody out than to hold a phone. So again, why officers continue to make this mistake is beyond me. And again, I don't hold water for anybody. I just think it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the next concept is that officers don't investigate themselves. And one example he gave was the state police, which again, I don't know how other agencies do things. I'll only speak to the venue that I'm currently because I work hand in hand with them regularly. Let's talk about the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, Oklahoma State Police. As you can see here on your screen, the Oklahoma Highway Patrol in particular has they're divided into divisions, and they have a Troop Z division, investigative division. And you can read here, I'm not going to insult your intelligence, but Troop Z is solely designed to deal with incidences regarding troopers, right? So troopers that are involved in officer-involved shootings. Troop Z has 100% oversight jurisdiction by statute to conduct all those things. They do polygraphs for the Highway Patrol. They conduct examinations. So they investigate everything that is Highway Patrol. So the idea that they don't investigate themselves is ridiculous. And then furthermore, we'll look into an incident that occurred here within the last month, right? April 11th, 2025. As you can see here, Oklahoma Highway Patrolman was charged with rape. And if you look at the investigative body that brought that on, it was Troop Z, Highway Patrol. So again, this idea that the Highway Patrol does not investigate their own, or that agencies don't investigate their own, is completely ridiculous. And what this tells me is to a bigger issue that this department has. This department truly believes, you have a police officer here that truly believes that he cannot do the right thing. Even if he thinks it's the right thing, he believes it's outside of his purview or jurisdiction to do so. And then more importantly, he thinks it's beyond the purview of all departments. So he thinks what his real world experience is at his department is conducive to all departments. So what happens here at our department is how every other department operates and runs things. He's just very I don't want to speak to his intelligence because I don't know. He's very misinformed and completely 100% wrong, right? So he's misinformed, he's extremely wrong, and he's talking very recklessly. Call that what it is. I can go on and on and on about that, but I would only be wasting my breath on somebody so ridiculous. So now let's talk about assault. Did assault occur here? Now again, like my job is not to hold water for anybody. I can only go off of what I have from a statutory jurisprudence standpoint. So based upon what I've seen, again, this clip was very quick. Based upon what I've seen, if I was there, I do not, and again, I'm not here to hold water for anybody. I can just tell you what I have logically. I do not have probable cause to believe that he committed the crime of assault. Okay, because if we look at what Oklahoma defines assault, we can see that from the Oklahoma jury instructions, OUJI TAC CR TAC 4 TAC 2, assault defined. An assault is any willful and unlawful attempt to offer to do bodily hurt to another with force or violence. I can't prove the elements of assault in this case because I cannot prove that this officer was attempting to cause bodily harm. I believe the officer wanted to cause bodily harm. He had more than enough tools at his disposal to do so, and I believe he would have. So I do not have probable cause to make that arrest for assault. Now, does that mean that there weren't many policy violations that were violated? Of course not. Does that mean that he's just allowed to take cell phones out of people's hands and put them down on desks? Of course not. But do we have a crime of assault here? No, we don't. So what the officer should have done, or at least I'll tell you what I would have done. If this was done in my presence, I would have, and I was a supervisor, I would have immediately controlled the situation, separated the parties. The officer's going, hey, go to the office, upload your body cam footage. We're doing all of it. We're going to go ahead and investigate everything, and we're going to kick it to the people that are responsible for ensuring that happens. Again, I know people don't like it. I know people may not like that answer. I know people, are going to demand that I make an arrest. I have no problem making an arrest if I have probable cause. Again, I don't have probable cause of an assault in this case. It just doesn't exist. Now, if we look through the literature, could we possibly maybe try to pin something? I'm sure that you can, but that's not what we should be doing anyway. As law enforcement, that's not what we should be doing. We shouldn't be trying to find a crime to put on a person, right? So I would write this up exactly as I have it. I would make sure that my admin saw it. I would make sure that the people and bodies involved that have seen it get it, and the district attorney is going to get a copy of that. And this isn't just for something that I would do for law enforcement. This is something that I've done for all people, right? There are many times I'm going to a scene where I don't know everything. And so if that's being the case, yeah, my job is to annotate all the evidence, make sure I have all the evidence, make sure I do a very thorough report that includes all the case law precedent in there, and then file a report. And this is something that I do for all things, and as many of you guys know, I was a part of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. I was a task force sergeant before I got my new role, and there were many times where there was a lot of egregious evidence. That didn't mean that I immediately made an arrest. I mean, I took everything, I got everything the way I needed to get it, and made sure the case was built up, because in many cases, search warrants are going to be written. There's a lot of different things that go on in this. So the idea that you just arrest somebody immediately, especially when there's no probable cause, that's just me. That's just you wanting me to placate to your feelings, and that's not what the purview of my job is to do. Is to ensure that a good report is written, and to assure that all the evidence and all the facts and everything that is needed for the case is there. It's certainly, I can tell you what it's certainly not. It's certainly not speaking on camera saying, yeah, cops don't arrest other cops. Again, that is ridiculous. It's reckless. And it's criminal. If that's really what they're doing, that is absolutely criminal. And so, again, I don't condone that kind of behavior at all. But at the end of the day, we do have to go with what we have, regardless if it's an officer or a citizen. That part to me is irrelevant. The most important thing that we have to do is ensure that we are using our law enforcement ability and our lawful duties appropriately. And so here, again, I do not have enough probable cause to believe that assault had occurred. However, with that being said, I think that there's more than enough policy violations to get the job done the way it needs to be done. So I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know you guys may not like it, but tell me in the description box below. Tell me in the comment section below. What would you guys have done? Do you guys believe that there's enough for assault? If you guys do, I want to see just your quick paragraph narrative. I just want to see how you guys show me where I got wrong. Show me how you're going to align based upon the video, you're going to align the elements to prove assault. This is how I learned. If you guys think you can do it, I would love to see it in the comment section below. And as always, guys, long live the Republic.